What's up, guys? Welcome to Rebuild It. So we've decided, based on the positive response we received from the very first Solstice video, we're going to go ahead and add it to the main rotation of videos on the channel. One of the main reasons for doing this, other than the positive response, is because Dad's having a hard time making interesting stuff on the 66 engine rebuild, since there's not a lot of things he can do while it's out of the car and he's waiting on parts to come in, other than just sitting there grinding the paint away, which is not fun for anyone to watch, as we've figured out in the past. So we're going to go ahead and do a couple videos on the Solstice and see how that goes. Thanks so much for watching. Now on with the video.
For today is to get this giant chunk out of my shop, to turn it from that big chunk into just this quarter panel. So in order to do that, I'm going to have to drill out these spot welds here, these all the way through here, and I think I'm going to have to remove that plastic piece in there around the gas cap. I'm sure there's some spot welds or bolts or something back behind that. That is all just all come loose, and this is all adhesive. So I'm gonna have to get a heat gun and try to heat that up and get it off of there. And man, I've got some dent there. I'm not sure. Well, that might be factory right there. I'm not sure. But this, somebody looked like somebody, when they dismantled it, laid it down on top of there and bent that in. So that's going to take some body work. I'll figure that out. And I'm not sure how up under here how it is attached. I don't know if that's some kind of adhesive up in there. On this, I can't tell until I flip it over, but I'm going to work on this top side first. Have to take that off. But I'd really like to get that off of there today, and then get this thing out of my shop, and then get back up there on the Solstice. And I'll learn a lot about, when I take this one off, about what I got to do to take the one off of the actual car. So. Okay, this is being extremely difficult. So I've got all the tabs drilled out and apart, all the stuff I could see that was, spot welded. So everything on this end down here from the gas cap that way is free, and actually this is free up here. But all of this has adhesive behind it, the whole length of it, and I think back up on this part too. You can see what this adhesive looks like from the end where it's cut. That's a big blob of adhesive that goes all the way up through that. And I read somewhere that it will release at about 400 degrees. So I've been trying to use a heat gun, but there's no way to get anything back up in there behind it to try to pry it away. So the next thing I'm going to try to do is drill all these spot welds out right here, and there's a second layer of steel right here. So I don't know if I take these spot welds out, if I could get the whole thing off and just have that second layer still in there, where I can get the heat to the adhesive better and get it to release. So let me see what happens when I drill these out and see if it'll at least get it off of this big chunk. See, that idea I just had is not going to work. I drilled out some of these spot welds, and I think all that does is, I think that's a seam. You can see right here where I split it apart. One piece goes down into this side of the frame, and there's a seam right here. And then the other piece comes up through the seam right here. So I think it's just a wrapping on both sides of that frame rail. And then they're welded together, so I don't think that really even has anything to do with this piece here. If I continue to drill those out, all that's going to do is separate these two things here that's part of the frame, and it's still stuck there where I can't get it out. Unless I get a grinder, that's a possibility, and grind down through here, release that, and then I can get some heat back up behind it. I think I found the only thing that will help release this adhesive, and that's with a torch. So I'm going to ruin the paint, but I'm at least going to heat it up super hot enough to where it's releasing that adhesive underneath, and maybe I can get it to pull off. So I'm going to do that all the way up and around. I've been doing this for about 4 or 5 hours now, trying to get this off, so it's getting tiring. Well, it's off. That took forever. All that's left is a flaming ember. That is the adhesive that holds that thing on. Now, what shape is the quarter panel in? Bent it all to pieces, burnt it to a crisp. I just have to see if I can straighten it. If not, then I'll have to try to take the dent out of the one that's on there. Remember, I paid $350 for, I don't know if I told you that, $350 for this chunk here. So, it's a lot of straightening. Let's see if I can do it. If not, try something different. Well, so what do you think? Think we can save this thing? I beat out a couple of the easy ones already. We got a big dished in spot here, so I don't think it'll be that bad. Beat out. That's the little things that I found before we started trying to get it off the chunk. Got this spot right here, which I've got still got some adhesive on the back of it. I need to get out before I can beat that back out. Then this area around here is not going to be too bad. And some areas just to flatten out. I guess I'll start by sanding a lot of this paint off. I can see more what I got once I get that paint out of the way. I try to leave most of this stuff up here, the paint on it. There'll be less stuff that Mike has to do as far as sealing it and epoxy priming it and all that stuff. So I'll just try to get all this burnt stuff off. Okay, so here's the other one if you remember. So we've got, okay, we're going to replace the door. That's easy. And this one has got all nice factory stuff in here, you know, no issues, no dents. But we've got this area right here. I can reach up in there behind all that and push it out and tap it and hit it and all that, but I have no idea if I'll ever be able to get it. It might be worth just trying it and seeing how bad it is before I cut this off. One good thing about taking this off is I don't have to try to save it. If I do take it off, I can just cut right through it, and get in there and heat up the adhesive wherever I can get to it with a torch, so I don't have to try to save it like I did the other one. But I have to take off the back bumper, and the tail light and all this other stuff to get that off of there. So it's gonna be a lot of work either way I do it. I'm just trying to decide which would be the least have least issues with it. So okay, I think I've made my decision on the plan here. What I'm going to start doing is I'm going to jack this thing up, get that tire off, and take the fender liner off there, and get into here and just tap around and see what this looks like if I beat some of these dents out. And if I think I can get it close enough to where body filler will fix it, I'll just leave this panel in and fix that. If not, if it just looks, it's just too hard to get the curves right and all that, then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to cut this probably like right through here, and then do a butt weld right there, and then all the rest of this all around the back is just spot welds. So we'll take this little piece off here, go cut our donor piece, and then butt weld it in right across through here. So that is the plan. So let's get to it. Alright, so I got all that inner fender liner out, and have beat around on it underneath there a little bit. This part came out pretty easy. The problem is, once I got this rubber seal off here, this is bent so bad. There's supposed to be a line going right here and another line going right here, and also this gap right here. Even when the door is going to push back in, I think that when this hit right here, it moved this in right here, so this gap, I don't know if I'd ever be able to get that gap right again. If I had a stud welder, I could weld some studs in here and try to use a slide hammer to pull it out and get it close. I don't have one of those. I might be able to hit in this way with something long and push this back once I got this out. I don't know. I could spend a whole lot of time doing that and still not be, I'd say it's a long shot to be satisfied with it when it's done. So I would say the easiest thing would be just to cut this, take the bumper off and tail light, and then cut that section out like I was talking about earlier, except for, okay, you've got spot welds in here like you saw when we took the donor one out, and spot welds down here. But we've got this little piece, which this adhesive, if we cut right here, we got adhesive going through here and all back up in here, which now we know how to release that and get that out. But we've also got a turn right here that goes down in behind all this mess, and it's got adhesive on it. So like if you look at our other panel, here's what we're talking about. We'll look around the back. So that's got adhesive on it, and it goes way down in there. So I'm not sure how we can get that to release without taking off this tulip. What they call a tulip is this curved piece that goes across here, and that's a big job to get that off. You can't get it off until you take off all this panel on the back interior, which is all the stuff in the middle of the seats and all the trim. all that. So I'm gonna study this a little bit more and see what I think I can, if I can get heat back up behind there and release that piece, and if it slides out. But I think there's a weld right up in here too, if I remember right. Let's see. Oh, yep, right there. So there's a hole right there. We had to drill that weld out when we took it off the other one, and we could get to it easier. So it's right up in here. I guess I could just, if I'm going to trash this thing, I could just cut a big chunk of that out and get to it and get it out. I'll look at it some more, and you can, once I decide, you'll see me start working.
Next week on Rebuild It.
So everything is exposed on this quarter panel that we've got to remove.
Also, make sure to check us out on Instagram, where we post behind-the-scenes photos, sneak peeks, giveaways, and information on future videos. Thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in and watching this week's episode of Rebuild It. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any awesome content. Have a good one.